So how's it going, my comic gentlemen? We're here today with C.L.Zeno, the creator of Drunk Mom. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. How long have you been creating comics for?
Um, so I started, I'd say 2017 is when I started writing Drunk Mom. Um, and uh, we had been kind of riffing um, at I was in the Navy, so I was at school in the Navy in like 2014. And how we came up with the idea was I'm not really a morning person at all. and so, uh, and I was like 19, 20 at the time. So I would just put whatever was in the fridge in a bag, and that was my lunch, right? Like I didn't really have a well thought out or well nutritious lunch or whatever. So I would get to work, and it'd be like the rest of the Christmas ham, a fruit cake, a block of feta cheese, a Capri Sun, and they're like, "Dude, you gotta stop letting your drunk mom like make your lunches for you in the morning. Like that's terrible." Uh, so yeah, I was just getting roasted on that. And then I mean, we were at work for like 12 hours a day, so uh, we were thinking like, okay, well, what if CL's drunk mom isn't actually drunk? What if she's fighting crime and that's why she's tired and blah blah blah? So like we were just having fun, and then by the time like 2017 rolled around, I had like thought about it and thought about it. And I was like, these are some good themes. This is actually a really good character. I'm gonna put pen to paper and start writing this thing. So I wrote the first 12 issues of Drunk Mom, like a script fully, and then started putting pen to paper for the art in like 2020, and then like COVID hit, so like a lot of my momentum was really kind of killed. Um, and so I leaned into kind of the art community and the comic community in Hampton Roads, um, and we started collaborating on the Evandris theory. That's how that got started. Was like out of the need to collaborate during COVID to just keep creating, which was great. And then now that I've done like Evandris 1 and 2, Phantasmagoria, the horror anthology, um, Tales of Goop with George Alvarez, and another comic for one of my buddies. It's called The Ghost of Wimbledon. So now I've got like four comics under my belt. I'm chomping at the bit to get back into Drunk Mom because it's been a long time coming. It's been like 10 years now that since that joke about my lunches. So yeah, I've got this awesome story in me, and I'm excited to finally get it out there.
What's the elevator pitch for Drunk Mom?
Um, the elevator pitch is that she's a single mom and she's a recovering alcoholic, and so she doesn't really have a whole lot of time during the day, and at night she uses most of her time after her son's asleep to fight crime, and so she's pretty tired most of the time. So everyone assumes that she's relapsed and she's out binge drinking and stuff. But she can't really tell them the truth. She has to live with that label as like her son's drunk mom. She can't really correct them. So it's a day in the life slash superhero story, um, and like it's more akin to kind of the traditional superheroes where like the double life, like their secret identity, is a huge part of the story. So Invincible, Spider-Man, The Flash, Jessica Jones, right? Where it's a lot more about who the character is as a person than kind of some of the superheroics.
So does she wear like a mask or anything?
Yes, yes. So throughout the 12 issue series, she takes on five different hero identities. In the first one, she takes on the She Knight. So she's got like a leotard and a domino mask. Um, so and a shield, and so it's very like comic booky.
Mm.
And like her intern Craig is the one who convinces her to start fighting crime. Like he makes her this costume. She hates it. She's like, dude, like I didn't want my legs out like this. I haven't shaved my legs. I hate this. Why are we doing this? Right. So she's a very like reluctant hero. And so throughout the series, she kind of learns, I guess, why she's committing to this in a big way. Um, because, not every single parent would maybe choose to do this. But, she wants to keep her community safe. She wants to, fight for kind of a better world. And she's kind of learning who she is as a hero throughout the series. So
So the villains Are they like over the top villains, or they're just like normal villains?
Um,
I guess.
they're kind of grounded, but there are again kind of some super heroics. So like nobody in the Drunk Mom universe has like traditional like superpowers
Okay.
per se, but there's like some tech that kind of enhances people's abilities. So like after the first issue where Craig is wearing his like old Renaissance fair costume, uh, which he finds out very quickly is not battle ready. Uh, like the armor does not work. He immediately pivots
Mhm.
and goes to like a full on Iron Man suit. So like that stuff does exist in the Drunk Mom comic series. So yeah, the villains are like there are some gang activity and like some like organized crime, and the kingpin behind it all is this guy named Night Terror, and he has kind of a Doctor Doom esque like hood, a fencing mask, and like a rapier. But he doesn't do everything himself. He sends his goons to go do everything for him. Uh, so he's kind of more of a larger than life dramatic villain. So yeah, that's the main kind of conflict is like they get into fighting crime thinking it's like going to be you know a comic book, and it's very like, oh wow, this is actually an organized crime or a gang that we're fighting, and they get in way over their heads very quickly throughout the series. So it, yeah, it's very fun. The first issues uh, just them dipping their toes into fighting crime for the first time due to some like muggings that happened, and so they're like, oh, we're going to do something about this, and so it's very naive from the start.
With the world being what it is over the last couple of years, do you think the world is ready for a Batman type superhero?
I mean, we've had some real life vigilantes, like mass vigilantes in in the real world. Like I think it takes on a different connotation when you see it in real life. Like part of the fun of like Marvel movies or reading a comic book is the suspension of disbelief. Like that's it's not practical, right? So like that's kind of what Drunk Mom is about. Is like
Mm.
it is impractical for Monica, the main character, to fight crime. She is getting no sleep. She's putting herself in danger. She's the breadwinner and like the sole caretaker for her son. So like, it kind of ruins her life in a big way. And so like I guess the answer to your question is like no, the world is not really ready for mass vigilantes. I think America is very much more comfortable with like policing as like kind of a law and order mechanic. So um, yeah, that's part of it as well. Like there's a character who shows up in the first issue. She's a police officer named Alex Cavarez, um, and she returns to wear the She Knight costume later in the series after Monica's kind of moved on to uh, a different costume. And she kind of enlists her help because she's a police officer and kind of wants to do more than I guess the police are uh, equipped to do or like kind of allowed to do. She's like, hey, I want to make a difference, and this is an alternative. But yeah, I don't think that that's viable in the real world for sure. Absolutely not.
And this book is on Kickstarter right now, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so we launched on I think it was the 30th of October, or no, the 1st of November. So we've been live for about 2 weeks. We are less than halfway through the campaign, which is great. That we're almost three-quarters of the way funded. So like we're well on track to hit goal and hopefully get into some stretch goal territories. We've set up a couple for like monetary and then like even like backer count and stuff like that. So it's going good.
Hell yeah. Um, what social medias are you on?
I'm on. I try to keep up with a lot of them. I just joined Blue Sky, which is cool and new. The I guess the user count has been going up in 2014 in a big way. Even in the last like 90 days, I think it's doubled or whatever. So it's got like 15 million users.
Hmm.
The art and comic community on there has been pretty great. I post on Facebook and Instagram consistently. I'm trying to get more on YouTube. Is I think one of my other favorite social platforms. Um, Starting to try to learn TikTok because it's important and it's where a lot of young people are. So I try my best with social media, but it's a learning curve, just like anything else. And like Monica, I don't really have a whole lot of time because I work a full-time job and make my comics. So, as any indie creator knows, I mean, you're also your own social media manager. There's not really uh, anyone to do that for you. So,
Do you have any cons planned this year?
I did NecoCon in Hampton. That was 2 weeks ago, which was great. It's an anime convention in Hampton, Virginia, and I sold out of Avondra's Theory #1 um, on Saturday, so we got to take Sunday off, which was way better than I anticipated. It was my first time doing NecoCon. It's like an anime convention, and so my comics are definitely inspired a lot by like American comics. So I didn't know kind of how it would go, but they introduced like a new author alley, um, and I jumped on it, and it was a great show. I might go back next year. Um, I have one more convention. Let me see if I get the date right. Um, at the Pretlow Library in Chesapeake. There's a small convention, like a library show. That's December 7th. I know Anime Fredericksburg is going on right now. I'm not doing that, but that's this weekend. And then I guess the next show would probably be Yes Fest at ODU in Norfolk. That was a great show. They have like lots of concerts and uh, like like artist alley type things.
Hmm.
So that's
Um,
January 13th.
People can get your comics through the Kickstarter when they back Drunk Mom, right?
Right. Yeah. So there's one of the tiers that's been pretty popular is the creator bundle. So like if you have no idea who I am, you're just coming in to my sphere of comics, and Drunk Mom's cool, and you want to catch up on Evandra's Theory, the sci-fi book, Phantasmagoria, the horror book. Those are all available in like a bundle. So I think you get the Evandra's Theory issues are like $5 each, so you get $5 off. So you get one of the comics for free. Um, just I don't really want people to think I'm upselling them or anything. It's like, hey, here's a deal. Let me kind of uh, you know prices are so crazy right now. I know I want to be sensitive to everybody's budgets and everything. So that one's been pretty popular. A couple people have picked up all my books for a discounted rate on there. So that's awesome.
Why does Phantasmagoria sound familiar?
Uh, Exodus Z. I know I saw your sticker behind you. I know you know Exodus Z.
Yep.
Exodus Z Zombie Foo Bar is in there, and then the the writer for Exodus Z is the person who put Phantasmagoria together. So he's kind of um, the creative force behind that book. He reached out to me because we had backed each other's books. I had backed Exodus C. He backed Evandris. And he goes, "Hey man, like, do you have like a horror comic that you would want to kind of contribute to this anthology?" And I was like, I don't know, like horror is not really like my first genre. Like I think like superhero sci-fi is kind of more my wheelhouse. But I was like, I'll think about it. And then I had been doing some like vampire research for Dungeons and Dragons. Like I'm a dungeon master. I play with my friends, and so I was like, I think I got like a vampire story I could do that could be fun. And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. We'll have two vampire stories now." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't want to be like repetitive. I want it to stand out. I want it to be interesting and different." So I based it on my D&D campaign. I made it more of a fantasy horror. So yeah, if you read Tales of Goop, that was mine from Phantasmagoria.
Hell yeah. What advice would you give to new creators out there?
New creators. So self-publishing is probably more accessible now than it ever has been. With tools that like Indiegogo and Kickstarter. I mean, crowdfunding makes it accessible. So if you don't have a couple $1,000s to print your book and take that kind of financial risk, doing the like pull economics pre-order model makes it so that there basically is no upfront cost. So the only upfront cost is like your art materials for drawing, whether it be like traditionally or digitally. But the barrier to entry is so low. So the advice would be just to do it. Like the only way to learn how to make better comics is to make one and then learn from that. Like there's no I don't think there's an expectation for everybody to come on to the indie comic scene with a perfect comic the first time. That's just not really an achievable goal or a realistic goal. So I would just say swing for the fences. If you get a strike or two, that's everybody does that. Like like um, there's no real expectation for people to read your comic and have it be perfect. It's going to be imperfect, and that's what people love about comics. They love seeing the scribbly inks. They love seeing typos. Like it's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of the appeal. And so having it be very like grunge and DIY and super super down to earth is one of the reasons why I love the indie comic community. So
Dead or alive, who would be your dream team to make a comic book with?
oh, dead or alive, man, that really opens it up. Okay, I would love to have been able to have even met John Buscema. He is probably my favorite artist.
Mm.
I met Neil Adams, who's one of my other favorites, at my first convention, Tidewater Comic Con in Virginia Beach, and he was great. He was awesome. He's obviously a huge legend, but I love the like classical take on like superhero pencils. Uh, like I think it really does elevate the medium quite a bit. So somebody like John Buscema's Conan or Thor or Silver Surfer adds a like timeless appeal because their pencils are so flawless. Like they're basically standing on the shoulders of giants, and I mean, as are all of us who study their work. So, like John Buscema is probably one of the best pencilers, and I fancy myself a writer before any other discipline. I think it's probably my strongest discipline. Um, I do the pencils, inks, colors, and letters on Drunk Mom. I think lettering's probably my weakest, and I'll probably be working with Micah Myers, who's an awesome letterer who did stuff for Phantasmagoria and Evander's Theory for future issues of Drunk Mom. His work is just so flawless, and he's so quick and professional. I mean, he's working with DC and Webtoon, IDW, Dark Horse, like you name it. Like he's just a powerhouse. And I'd love to, if I could do Micah Myers, John Buscema, and for color artists, I'd say like Justin Ponzer probably. He also I think passed away a couple years ago. So that would be my dream team.
Sweet.
Yeah, a little old school, a little new school.
Is there anything you want to say before we go?
So I would just say check out the campaign page. The Drunk Mom comic means a lot to me. It's very personal. So when I was writing it in like 2017 through 2020, that was a pretty dark time in my life, and the writing process was very therapeutic for me. It allowed me to kind of take some of my thoughts and my emotions, jot them down, and then kind of like unpack them in a big way, and just say, okay, well, I have this story arc, this 12-issue story arc. Where do these themes from my real life fit into this book? And so, like, of all my comics, I don't think I'll write another comic as personal as Drunk Mom. So it does mean a lot to me. I hope that people, when they read it, even the preview, the four-page preview on the campaign page on Kickstarter, I hope they get kind of the humor and the heart that I'm trying to convey. Like the heroics are great, and I really do obviously love superheroes, but they are a reflection of ourselves, right? Like they inspire us to be better people. When we see ourselves in a hero, it's because we empathize with them and they're flawed, and hopefully that reciprocates to the reader as like, hey, I want to idolize this person. I want to be a hero in my own story. So yeah, the Drunk Mom Kickstarter page I think should be linked. Check it out. There's a video. There's a bunch of fun rewards. I'm the biggest Drunk Mom fan. I've got T-shirts, stickers, buttons, everything. So there's lots of fun stuff on there. So check it out.
All right. I appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.